Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today we honestly have a really massive story to cover that Travis Gafford did make a video about. The video is obviously up on the screen. There's his channel if you guys want to go check it out. This is called LCS Owners Have Asked Riot to remove import restrictions on players. And man, I have so many thoughts and opinions about this. I think, we'll get into exactly what I think and why I think this could potentially be a totally disastrous decision in so many different ways. I'll be giving all my thoughts and opinions, cover exactly what's going on, who's saying what, all of that stuff. But this is definitely a topic where I'm going to want to get your guys' thoughts and opinions as well, because I am just one person. This is something that I think about a lot. It's something that I actually have a pretty deep background in from business background, sports background, but also League of Legends, esports, all this stuff. And I think this is really crazy. And this is a massive story that could affect teams, the league, and really the future of esports as we know it. As crazy as that sounds, I don't want to overstate too much, but like there is a way that this could have like a huge lasting impact for so many years. And I hope they don't make a silly decision. But before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick, if you guys aren't already subscribed, definitely click that subscribe button really quick. That'd be awesome. Also, dropping a like on this video, smash the like button, all that good stuff. Helps us out a ton of the YouTube algorithm. I would appreciate it so much. And honestly, it's one of the best ways to support my content. If you like my channel, if you like what we do here, or if you do enjoy this video, it's great. And I would appreciate it so much. With that being said, first, before I get into what I think and why, I disagree with the things that are going on, let's hear what Travis Gafford even has to say. What's this video all about? What are they talking about? What is going on here? Hopefully I get this video to an appropriate volume level. I know people complain about this stuff sometimes. It's hard because sometimes it's really loud in my ears, but quiet on the screen. I don't know. Hopefully this is good.
So here's the spicy news. And if you think about it, it shouldn't come as too much of a surprise. But I have been informed that some amount, I don't know if it's all of them or some of them, but some of the LCS teams are pushing Riot to remove the import restriction for the LCS. The idea being that you could import as many players as you want. So you could do the full Korean team and all that stuff back in the day. I have reached out to Riot, who essentially declined to comment on this.
So there it is. I mean, that is the big news. And I guess first we'll take a look at the community reaction. He did put out a little Twitter poll where he said, should the LCS remove the import rule? And as you can see, 61%, close to 62%, a resounding majority say no, with only 18% saying yes, and 20% saying they don't care. So when I say that I think this could be a potentially disastrous decision that could really ruin the future of League of Legends esports, the LCS, and esports really all over. It could be big for League of Legends esports. Now, things will probably be fine in the East no matter what. China, Korea, that's great. But understand that the United States is a massive market with a ton of money in it. And if esports wants to be successful in the future, they are definitely going to want to expand their reach and everything into North America. Like, yes, Korea is obviously insane for esports. China is insane for esports. There's so much money. But for this to be a truly global thing, the United States is a huge player in every single market. And if you know what kind of money and stuff America has and the money that they throw around, I mean, you can even see how much we spend on our League of Legends teams now, and esports still isn't big in North America. If we want to continue to grow things here in terms of the game's overall popularity, esports in general, United States is one of the markets you want to get into and one of the markets you want to be successful in. And this could potentially be a move that would be disastrous for that. So a couple of things. He goes on to talk about how Jack and Steve are two of the main guys pushing this. He says it's not necessarily every single owner that's pushing for this. We really don't know who all is for it, who's against it. But apparently Jack and Steve have come out. The Cloud9 owner and the Team Liquid owner have come out previously and said that they are for this. Now, for them, I think it is really weird. I know, first up, that the common criticism is that NA is already pretty much an import league as it is. But that is making those players go through the process of at least getting a green card and at least kind of being assimilated to the United States, having some, tie to America, to the United States, because the green card process takes usually around 3 years, as we found out the other day. So by that time, they've probably, started to learn the culture. They've been here for a while. The fans have gotten to know them. They start to speak pretty decent English, which is a big thing here in terms of sponsorships and interacting with teams and content creation and so many of the things that make money for these teams, because yes, results are a big thing, like, winning championships, going to Worlds, doing well. That all would be awesome. But at the end of the day, your team isn't going to be financially successful by going to Worlds and being successful. That's not getting necessarily any more money. Yes, there is prize pools for those tournaments and stuff, but it's not enough to pay for all this stuff. You need a huge fan base. You need sponsorships. You need to be getting money from your fans in terms of merchandise and all that stuff. And man, doing some of these things, becoming even more of an import league, pushing North American players and regional players further and further away is going to make the league something that a lot of fans will probably not like and probably not enjoy. Like, yes, we don't only root for North American players, but we are watching the North American League. And yes, people will say, oh, well, don't you want to win? Don't you want to do well at MSI? Don't you want to do well at Worlds? There is a future where if we do the right things, if we have the right infrastructure in place, if we train our players up right, just because we've sucked for like 10 years or whatever, in the grand scheme of things, like look at something like soccer or whatever, that's been hundreds of years. 10 years is such a small sample size, and so many things can change over the course of time. If you want esports to have longevity, just because we've sucked recently, this could just be a small blip on the radar where, it's possible that one day North America becomes good. But if you give up on everything this soon, then it kills all of that, and it really takes away so much of the hype and promise and whatever. And again, if we just wanted to watch, the top League of Legends talent or whatever, why would we be fans of the LCS? That hasn't been what we've seen historically. If all we cared about was, I just want to see the best teams, best players, whatever, you can already watch the LCK. You can already watch the LPL. You can already watch the LEC. Whoever you think is the best players, whoever you think is the best league, whatever. And if I wanted to watch an all-Korean team, I, would go do that. I root for these teams. I root for these players because, one, people like seeing people like them. I want to see people from the United States. I want to see people from Canada, people from North America, because you feel like you can relate to them a little bit more. And yes, if there are some imports here and there, and even, we started importing more and more people recently, at least they've been in the United States for a couple of years. And I've got to know them a little bit. They do start to do more in terms of content creation stuff, and they actually speak the language, where if you could just import a full Korean team straight over from Korea by throwing a bunch of money at them, there's a chance that all 5 of them could not speak English. There would be no reason that they needed to speak English or be a part of the culture or be part of the United States or whatever. They could literally come over for the couple months of the season, collect their check, go back home. And I think that would be so, and I'm not saying that would necessarily happen, but I'm saying that does open up the opportunity for like a bottom tier team to come in with a bunch of money. Like if one of these bottom tier teams, like, I don't know, say Golden Guardians or whatever, was able to get enough money, why would they not do something like that? It could it could be better for them to actually produce some results when, otherwise they're really not going to. And there's just so many ways that this could be bad. Not only there's so many reasons this doesn't make sense. One, if you do just start importing a bunch of random imports over, how are you ever going to be better than Korea or China or Europe or whoever if you're just, usually getting their second-rate players? You'll steal some of the top players every once in a while, but, it's not like you're just straight funneling all the top Korean and Chinese and European players over. And again, if at that point that's what you're doing, then we're just the LPL at that point, or we're just the LCK at that point, or whatever. We're not even the LCS. We're not the North American League. North American fans are not going to care about that. And I say that, that's just my opinion. But again, you can see on this poll, yes, Travis Gafford's fans is not everybody, but this is 62% of people saying that this could be an absolutely terrible decision. But again, that's just in terms of winning. Would you even necessarily win more? You'd like to think so. But how really successful historically have the imports been that we've gotten over? Yes, there have been some very, very successful imports in North America. Guys like Impact have been good. Alfari looks like he's doing pretty good so far. Yes, Bjergsen came over. Jensen came over. But think about how many imports didn't work out. And if we just start bringing more and more imports over, it's not necessarily even going to increase winning, but it is going to destroy the potential to build North American talent. And it's going to destroy, the academy scene, the collegiate scene. It could really destroy so much of that. And that's what is kind of a slap in the face, that recently so many of these owners and teams and stuff have been talking about, yeah, we want to build up the NA infrastructure. We want to build up the collegiate scene. We want to build up the academy scene. We want to do all this stuff. At the same time, they're behind our backs talking to Riot of, hey man, let's get rid of that import rule. Let's just, have a ton more imports coming over because NA sucks. We'll never be good enough, blah, 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 blah. And I think that's so weird. And again, at the very top, if I'm Jack, if I'm Steve, whoever, eventually that's the big thing, that a lot of these esports teams don't make money. I believe going into last year, TSM was the only profitable team of these teams at the top. So guys like Liquid, guys like Cloud9, they have to be looking for more and new ways to make money, to expand their brand, to sell more merch or whatever. And I think that increasing the import limit and importing more players would do the exact opposite of that. That is not going to be good for your North American brand deals, for your North American sponsorships, for your North American fans, having more and more imports. I think you're just walking a fine line of really becoming the LCK light, or being LCK, not 2.0, but like 0.5, or the LPL 0.5, just a watered down worse version of some of these other leagues. And at the same time, you're kicking, you're kind of kicking away fans, kicking away money, in the hopes of maybe getting results, when the answer to results is doing things like they've been able to do. Like, yes, some of their players are just naturally better. Some of their stuff is better. Like they might have better solo queue. They might have better coaching, whatever. We can get to that point eventually. Our players are fully capable of setting up good infrastructure, finding good coaches, finding good players, building them up. We've had teams make it to the semifinals. Cloud9 a couple years ago made it to the semifinals at Worlds, one of the top 4 teams in the world. That's not that far away from being a top 2 team in the world, or being the best team in the world. Yes, they kind of get smashed and stuff, but it's there. It is possible. It's within the realm of possibilities. And I mean, if you look at the responses to this tweet, there's just so many responses of people saying, no, that's stupid. I'm trying to understand the yes people and they can't. I mean, so many things going on. To have my favorite team get reverse swept by a 5-man Chinese stack again, no thanks. Like, yes, we have seen this before in the LCS with, I can't remember, LWX? Was that the Chinese team that played in the LCS? And it's not like they were ever going to have an insane fan base. Maybe it's exciting and fun to see for a little bit, but I mean, think of in a few years, if the top 3 teams are like all Korean teams or all Chinese teams or something like that, if you just import one here and there and you kind of mix them in with a couple European players, a couple North American players, maybe a Chinese player, Korean player, whatever. I mean, that's like a melting pot. That's already what North America is. That's what the United States is all about. That's fine. But if you get to the point where say the number 1 team is 5 Chinese, say the number 2 team is 5 Koreans, like, I mean, at that point, you really start to devolve and take away from what the LCS is, from what North America is, from what North American esports is supposed to be, and that's why I think it is so dumb. Could it potentially improve results? Yes. At the end of the day, is results the only thing that matters? Absolutely not. For the fans, you want to be entertained, and the LCS can be that. Yes, Worlds is one thing, but that's just a couple of months. For so many more months of the year, we're watching the LCS, and we're watching our North American League, where, you want it to be entertaining. Yes, it'd be nice if we can go to Worlds and do well, but Worlds is 1 month out of the year, or a month and a half out of the year. The LCS is 4, 5, 6 months out of the year, where we're watching it more and more often. I would rather have the LCS be entertaining and me be invested and want to watch the LCS than maybe have a team do well at Worlds, because honestly, at the end of the day, who really cares? And then, so that's from the fans' perspective, and then from the team's perspective, the business of it just does not make sense. How would it increase revenue? How would it increase money overall? How would it increase any of these things? Maybe imports become cheaper as you start to water it down. I know they talk about that in a little bit of the video, but again, that really wouldn't be that significant of savings. I hate it for so many reasons. I think it absolutely does not make sense. All the other leagues in the world have restrictions. Why would North America be able to not? I don't know. And why would North America want to not be able to, other than the hope of maybe having better results, which honestly, again, I don't even think it would necessarily lead to better results. Because again, like many people are going to say to this, so many of our teams are already mostly imports. So we haven't seen increased results in the last couple of years. If anything, we've seen worse results in the last couple of years. And North America hasn't made it out of groups in the last 2 years, and we've been importing more and more players every single season. It's working out less and less. There's something to be said for flying people halfway across the world, putting them in a place where they don't speak the language, they don't understand the culture, whatever. It's culture shock. It's being away from friends and family. It's some people being washed up and retired and want to collecting checks. There's so much that goes into it. I honestly cannot believe that the owners are kind of going behind the backs of the fans and everyone calling for a rule like this, because when the stuff happened with LWX, that's when all these rules began implemented to avoid things like this. And for just a couple of years later, for them to be so short-sighted, yes, it could be a good decision for a couple of years. Maybe, have some better results. Maybe you get some fans hyped up. Maybe you start earning a little bit more money. But in the long run of the LCS, you are going to need to build up successful North American players to build brands around, to build sponsorships around, to build fans and hype around. That is what is going to be the most successful in the long run. Yes, there can be imports involved. Yes, you don't have to have 5 NA players. I'm not saying anything like that. But to have 0 North American players in the North American League, that makes absolutely no sense. And yes, again, right now, it's possible to have no North American players on your team right now. But again, at least there's a process. At least they have to kind of become acclimated to our country, and the fans get to know them and watch them grow and stuff over time. Not just be able to walk right into the LCS and completely take over. And you know, a lot of fans have no idea who they are. And I think that would absolutely be the most short-sighted decision made by LCS owners ever. I think it could kill their brands. I think it could kill their teams. And I think it could honestly kill the LCS for a lot of people, which would be terrible for esports in the long run, especially esports in North America. But that is my thoughts and opinions on everything, guys. I know I threw a lot at you. It's a topic that I feel very, very strongly about. I would absolutely hate and be disgusted by this decision, and it would honestly impact my kind of desire to watch the LCS and how much time and stuff I would invest into it. I think it would be really a terrible, terrible decision. But that is just my thoughts and opinions on everything, guys. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Make sure you drop a like if you did. And again, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about the whole situation? There's a lot going on. So any thoughts, whatever you guys have, I would love to hear. Subscribe, save down on my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace!